All right, Miles, let's talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide here for a little bit. They find themselves in the news. Obviously, this is a bit of a transition period for the Alabama Crimson Tide program. A lot of their top playmakers are gone to the NFL, but it's Alabama. They always have a nice pipeline of just as good, if not better, playmakers coming into the fold. And there's one guy in particular that is drawing all kinds of massive praise and even a lot of recognition from this coaching staff early in his career.
Yeah, Nick, I think this guy is massive. I think he's already shown that he's maybe deserving a little bit of a lot of the praise that he is getting, and Alabama themselves have acknowledged this as well. I think the story that you dug up is really, really interesting. But we talk about Alabama here. I want to talk about not Alabama for a moment here and ask the Alabama fans, who is your favorite player that was not on the Crimson Tide of all time? Who's your favorite college football player that is not an Alabama Crimson Tide guy? Let us know in the comments below. I'm really interested to see. There's so many answers because there's so many college football teams. Let us know who's your favorite player that wasn't on the Crimson Tide. But Nick, now we can get into one of the favorite players on the Crimson Tide this season.
Yeah, so I think my favorite player the last couple of years watching for Alabama was Will Anderson. This guy was an absolute beast. He's obviously going to be a successful NFL player. He has nothing but a bright future in front of him. And I thought it was going to be extremely difficult for Alabama to replace him. Bryce Young was special just as well, but I thought Will Anderson, what he did from his position as a pass rusher was just unreal. It was incredible to watch. But it looks like Alabama believes that freshman edge rusher Keelan Keely could come in and be just as good as as Will Anderson was. If you can throw out the report, Miles, this is from the Yard Barker. I'll read from it and kind of give some insight of how good this coaching staff thinks Keely's going to be. All right, from the report, freshman edge rusher Keelan Keely comes into Alabama with high expectations as arguably the top recruit in the 2023 class. Expectations may have gone even higher on Memorial Day weekend when Keely revealed via social media, that his number with the Crimson Tide will be number 31. The number Will Anderson Jr. wore for 3 seasons before being taken number 3 overall by the Houston Texans in this past NFL draft. Anderson was a star for the Crimson Tide, and that's the type of player Nick Saban is undoubtedly hoping Keely will turn into. And for what it's worth, the rankings certainly thought it was possible. According to the industry-generated 24/7 Sports Composite rankings, Keely was the number 1 edge rushing recruit in his class, as well as a number 2 overall player in America, only behind 5-star Texas quarterback Arch Manning. It's obviously a great company to be in. For comparison's sake, Anderson was the number 1 edge rusher in his class as the number 5 player overall in 2020. The top recruit in that class was quarterback Bryce Young, who had a Heisman career in Alabama before going number 1 overall to the Carolina Panthers in 2023. So neat parallel there, but the top line of the story is Keelan Keely has been handed Will Anderson's number 31. That will be his number for the Alabama Crimson Tide for his career at Alabama. Obviously, high expectations on this kid, Miles. What do you think of this report out of Alabama and what it means for the Crimson Tide going forward?
Nick, I think with big expectations become big responsibilities. And a guy like Keelan Keely, I think he's up for the task because this guy, as we said through the parallels, he is an extremely talented player, just like Will Anderson was. We talked about in 2019, Will Anderson coming out of high school. This guy had 25 tackles for loss that 2019 season, 22 sacks in high school. He was playing out of Dutchtown in Hampton, Georgia. Flip over now to Keelan Keely playing out of Berkeley Prep in Tampa, Florida. I would argue probably a little bit tougher area to play football in.
Sure.
Georgia's still, very respectable area, but that Florida, those prep schools got to be really tough. And Keely is coming out of high school this year with 19 sacks, 23 and a half tackles for loss, very comparable statistics. These guys are both really similar, but Keelan Keely a little bit more prototypical size. Will Anderson coming to high school 6'3", 230. Keely coming to high school 6'5", 242. So he is a couple inches taller, couple pounds heavier. He's looking like Will Anderson, just maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit better. He's already got that first round comp. A guy like Keely coming out of high school compared to Los Angeles Rams former pass rusher Dante Fowler, which a respectable comp for a high school guy. This is a first rounder for sure. Dante Fowler, you got to love that. But when you look at Keely, they're already comparing to a guy like Chase Young, an absolute game wrecker in the NFL. He is a heck of a player, Nick. So I think Keely has all of the makings to be this superstar player. So I don't think it's that out of character that they go ahead and hand him the number 31 number, because I think that, it's like Dion said, look good, you play good. And when you wear that number 31, you're going to be looking good in an Alabama uniform. So hopefully he is as well going to play good.
Yeah, Miles, and just one final note here. I think you hit the nail on the head right here. I think Nick Saban and company recognizes the unbelievable level of talent that Keely has. And I think giving him number 31 is definitely a message that he needs to live up to his talent and needs to make sure he utilizes every drop of talent on him to live up to that Willie Anderson standard. And that's why I think it's a really smart move by Saban and company to give this kid this jersey number. Look, obviously, he's a great recruit. I think he's going to have an outstanding career at Alabama. He's a phenomenal athlete, great football player. But giving him this responsibility so early on kind of gives him a goal to reach for, right? His goal, the standard is to be an All-American, potential Heisman candidate. Will Anderson was rated as a potential Heisman candidate late in his college career. Obviously, a top 5 overall pick. That is the standard that they want Keely to live up to, and I love the fact that Nick Saban put that responsibility on him, gave him a very lofty goal to reach to. Because let's be honest, this kid's talent, what Keely can do athletically, he has the ability to potentially not just reach that standard, but exceed that Will Anderson standard. And you can't say that for heck, you can't really say that for pretty much anybody. So obviously, this is great news for Keely that they think he's going to be that good. It's also a lot of responsibility too, but I really love the fact that Nick Saban and his entire coaching staff wanted him to have it.